Thank you everyone for joining me this morning for our Yin Yang Yoga practice. My name is Helena and I am the owner of Fine Feather Yoga in Hamilton. Let's get started with today's practice. Coming to lie down on the back. Maybe you've already arrived there, but take these first few moments of your practice right now just to settle into the body. Maybe even close your eyes, stretch your arms out, loop the shoulders down your back. Drop into the body by shifting your awareness inwards. And then allow for a deep breath in. Open your mouth and sigh your breath out. Do that one more time. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, release. Let the breath out. Pay attention to your stillness. The body gradually getting more relaxed, but also watching the movement of your breath, where the breath rises into and then softens into. Inhaling and exhaling just a little bit deeper. Noticing that there are two parts to this breath. The rise of the inhale and the softening, the fall of your exhale, but how those two parts come together to make not just a cycle, but a complete breath, a wholeness. And this is the Yin Yang practice. It mimics the breath. We find a high point, an expansion, extending out of the body, engaging the body, contracting the body, building some heat. We slow down, we find stillness, we hold things rather than move through things. We stretch deep connective tissue. Rather than contracting, we try to let go, to completely release. And how those two halves, what might be black and white or right and left, high and low, happy or sad, those two halves come together to make a cycle and the wholeness. But wherever you find yourself throughout this practice, at first I wasn't sure, why yin was so important, being still. It felt sort of counterintuitive to everything we're taught, to move, to go, to produce, to be productive. But what I found through this practice of stillness, even in those moments where you might not feel like you're doing much, I promise you there is growth. Growth is happening through both portions of this practice. Even in our day-to-day right now, in some of our stillness, there is growth. Growth is happening, I promise you. It's just a slight shift in our perspective to see what that growth might be and how we choose to show up for it. Our day-to-day routines have changed 100%. And while we might not be able to do the things we were doing 4.5 weeks ago, what can we do now? What type of growth can happen in our stillness? Take 5 more deep breaths. And let some of this sort of land in the body. And the body may be more relaxed than when you first arrived on your mat, open to receive the shifts, open to receive the gentle messages we're receiving for growth. Roll out your wrists. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, hug them in towards your chest. Give yourself a big embrace. As you rock side to side through the back body, encourage even a little more of a rotation, twisting towards the right, twisting towards the left. And as you let the knees drop side to side, maybe you're pausing for a moment and then using some of the core to bring your knees back. Knees to center, kick your heels up towards the sky, hold onto your thighs, and bring some attention into your toes. Flex your toes back towards your face, point them up towards the sky, and then flex and point on your own. Spread your toes wide. Might feel good to circle the ankles out, circle them 3 times one way and then 3 times the opposite. Bend your knees back in towards your chest. Roll onto your right or left side. Make your way into a tabletop position, facing the top of your mat. From table, spread your fingers really wide. Grip into the fingertips, gaze under your belly, knees under your hips. Look past the top edge of your mat, breathe in. Look over your right shoulder towards your right hip, breathe out. Return to center, lengthen spine, inhale. Look the opposite direction, exhale. Go a few more times each way. As you pass through neutral, lengthen the spine with an inhale breath. And watch how with this movement, one side is shortening, the other side is lengthening, but how 2 parts of that movement make a whole. Complete both sides, and then return to neutral. Come down onto the forearms, and watch here that your shoulders are on top of the elbows, so you don't want the shoulders passing them. Drive down into the elbows, step your feet back for dolphin plank. You can always take your knees down if the shoulders are maybe feeling a little bit too tight in this position, or take the knees down if the breath shortens. One more inhale. Soften your knees to your mat. Press back up into your hands and roll through 3 cat-cows. Drop your belly, lift your heart. A rounded spine, chin to chest, heavy head. Inhale, sweeps back forward. Exhale, round, tuck your tail. Press down through the hands, send some weight back. Then pull yourself forward one more time. Rounding one more time. Come to neutral. Come onto the forearms one more time. Stack the joints. Step your feet back. Try to keep your hips in line with your shoulders. If you'd like to make this a little bit more engaging, start to tiptoe your feet up. Try and pike your hips high. Press down through the shoulders. Press down through the elbows. Hold for 3. Inhale, exhale for 2. If you've walked the feet in, tiptoe them back out. Soften onto your knees, press up into your hands. Toes are flipped behind you. Send your weight back into your heels to come into a kneeling position, and then just loop your shoulders up, back, and down a few times. Let that go. Cleanse the breath, sounded inhale. Empty out, exhale. Come back forward to table, setting your hands. Try to roll the eyes of your elbows forward, flip your toes. Come into downward facing dog. Lift the knees, send your hips up and back. Offer some movement, lift your heels. You bend your knees. Press into the hands. Encourage your hips back just a little bit further. Inhale, send your right leg high behind you. Look towards your thumbs, hug your right knee in towards your chest, and then flicker step, grab or pull your right foot through. Good. Right away, pivot your left heel down and cartwheel the arms to warrior two, so the hips are open. Arms stretching like a wingspan. Lunge through the front knee so your knee is stacked on top of the ankle. From your warrior two, flex the fingertips back towards your face. Try and spread your fingers and press out through the wrists. Soft gaze past your hands. One more round in. And out. Palms to the sky. Inhale, straighten your right leg, reach your arms up, maybe your fingertips touch. Exhale, bend the front knee, sweep your arms back out. Inhale to straighten, arms reach high. Exhale to bend. Good, go two more with the rhythm and cycle of your breath. Hear the sound of the breath travel through the back of the throat. This time you lunge deep through the front leg. Cartwheel your hands down, frame your front foot. Step yourself back to downward facing dog. Left leg moves high behind you. Shift the weight forward into your hands. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. Try and stack your shoulders over your wrists. Flick your foot through. Grab it to pull it there. Root your back right heel down. And then windmill the arms to land in Virabhadrasana 2. Maybe look at the base of your feet if you need to. Your front heel intersects with that back inner arch of your foot. Arms floating. Then flex the fingertips back towards your face. Press out through the wrists. Activating the arm bones. Maybe encouraging that pressing out of the hands to create a bit of a stretch through your chest. Palms to the sky. Straighten the left leg. Don't lock the knee. Sweep the arms up. Breathe in. Exhale, lunge. Inhale to sweep the arms. Lift your gaze. You can follow the movement. Exhale, bend. Go with your breath. And encourage the movement to be fluid and smooth. Last one. Lunging through the front leg. Hands cartwheel down, frame the foot. This time let's step into plank position. Bring your big toes together at the back of your mat and squeeze your toes together. Squeeze your bum. Even if you're taking your knees to the earth, engage the inner thighs, hug in, lower through a push-up, exhale, come down. Point your toes, loop your shoulders away from your ears. Let's lift the heart center up. And then wave the heart center back down. One more time, wave the heart up. Exhale, release down. The option, the third time, to come into your full upward dog. Press down to straighten the arms up. Slingshot your heart forward. Exhale, flip your toes behind you, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts high right away, breathe in. Look forward, knee to chest, swing or step your foot through. Pivot your left heel down, arms cartwheel, warrior two, arms sweep out. Straighten your front leg, reach up through your arms, palms maybe touching. Exhale, lunge back into the right leg, release your hands down, step back into plank. Squeeze in through inner thighs, move through high to low push-up. Inhale to your back bend expression. Pike your hips back in space, flip your toes, downward dog. Exhale, empty out completely, and then make space for the next breath to come in. Left leg high. Knee to chest, hug it in, flicker step it through. Right heel pivots down, arms cartwheel, warrior two. Straighten left leg, palms to touch. Rebend the front knee, take the hands down right away. Then move through your variation of plank and push-up. We meet in downward facing dog, unless you need to maybe take a moment to sip water or rest in child's pose. Notice the heart rate, the sensation of maybe feeling a little warmer, a little more invigorated. That is your yang energy, that's your fire energy. You may be burning up any tension in the body, burning up any toxins in your body. Building our own internal heat and fire. Now that same sequence that we just did, of warrior two, straightening the leg and moving through vinyasa, we'll take it on our own time. Your next inhale lifts the right leg. And see if you can guide and pace yourself through. If you're not really certain of the sequence, I'll be doing it mindfully as well. You can always follow along. But important for us to start getting familiar with our own rhythms, the body's intuition, and how it would like to move, guiding yourself. Take your time. And we'll meet in downward dog. Sounded breath in. Sigh, breath out. Look to the top of your space. Lift up through the heels, bend through your knees. Walk or hop to come forward. Press into your shins or thighs, flatten your back and lift your heart. Exhale, fold to bow. Root down into your feet, rise up to stand, inhale. Pull your hands towards your heart center, exhale. Keep your thumbs into your heart, lift your heart up into your thumbs, get taller, and simply notice what you notice. And the internal heat that you've built in the body. Even how the palms connect, two halves making a whole. Slowly bend your knees as if a chair was back behind you. Make sure you can still see all 10 of your toes. If it's okay, through the shoulder joint, sweep your arms forward. Utkatasana chair. Holding for 3. Feel the engagement through the legs, but some ease still found in your breath. 2. Rise up to stand, strong legs, lift your gaze. Big dive forward. let that go. Hands to shins, lifted heart. Bend your knees, take your fingertips down, step your feet back. And just one last time, come onto your forearms. Knees can be lowered, knees can be lifted. Option to tiptoe your feet up. One more conscious breath. Soften onto your knees. Come into your kneeling position, lift your torso, toes are flipped behind you. And move your shoulders up, back, and down. And take the hands behind the back, see if you can grab for your elbows. If it's available to you, interlace your fingers. Let's open up the chest, lift the heart up. And you're aware of the sensation in your feet, but try to be maybe even more present to your breath. Does that create a sensation of feeling a bit more supported? Release the hands. Take them out in front into table. Uncurl your toes and give your toes a little tap or a little rock side to side. And then find space between your fingers. When you're ready, lift yourself back to downward dog. Lift your right leg high behind. Look at your right wrist. We're setting up for pigeon pose. If you're familiar with it, you can go there. Otherwise, take the right knee behind your right wrist and let your shin come down onto your mat. You're going to hook the heel to the inside, the knee to the outside. The left leg can inch back, tense your fingers, lift your torso up, so we'll activate first. And then there's lots of options, especially if you know you're sensitive through your knees and your hips are really high. Take the pressure off your knee. You can ground the right hip down all the way. You can take a block, a bolster, anything, stack it under your hip. And then bowing forward from there. If this is still not working on your knees and you know figure four, you can just swing yourself around and come onto the back. Hooking the right ankle in front of the left knee. We're still getting that external rotation through the right leg. Left knee can come to chest. That's a really good modification. In pigeon, there's actually just a lot of pressure and weight on the knee. You know, the whole pelvic bowl and torso, pressing down. Just be really mindful if it's too much sensation for you. And then encourage yourself to get settled. Maybe you're stacking fists to rest your forehead. Perhaps you can close your eyes and start to settle into longer inhales and exhales. We'll be in pigeon pose for maybe another minute or two. And anytime the body has the desire to fidget or to move or to shuffle around, see if 2 or 3 breaths invites that sensation to pass. And then remind yourself that even in your stillness, growth is happening. So without the distraction of movement, without the overstimulation on our bodies or minds, sometimes when we slow down, we can deeply listen and be more reflective, and that's where the growth might start happening. Take 10 more rounds of breath. Count them through mind's eye if that helps you. Deepen your next inhale. And carefully press yourself up into your hands. Flip your back toes, and there's a couple of options to come out. If you're in figure 4 on the back body, you can just uncross the legs, sway them side to side. If you're in pigeon, lift off the back knee, step yourself back into downward dog, extend the right leg behind you, maybe even lowering yourself down into tabletop or child's pose, rocking side to side, forward and back. Let go through the right hip. Set yourself up for the opposite side, extending left leg high behind, creating that reach, creating lots of space. Look forward, look behind the left wrist, lower your knee down behind it. Try and hook your left heel to the inside, tense your fingers. If you're taking your right leg back, make sure your heel stays in line with the hip. The offering for some more support, dropping down onto the left side, and you bending both knees, bowing forward from here, stacking a pillow, a blanket, a cushion under your left hip if it's elevated. Pay attention to your knees. Right and left side might be different. If it's too much, swing yourself around, come to figure 4 on the back. And then as you settle into your posture, explore if this is something that you think you can maintain for the next 2 or 3 minutes. And if it almost feels like it's too much right now, then that's an indication that you might want to support yourself a little bit more, not go as deep. And then to commit. Commit to where you've landed. Do your absolute best to rest in stillness. Trust in the process that even through stillness, growth is happening. Unclench your jaw. Soften through your palms. Where do you feel resistance in your body? Where are you holding resistance and gripping still? Let that go. take 5 more deep breaths. Moving slow to come out. Walk into the hands. Lift off the back knee, lift off your front knee. And I'm going to choose the expression for the release through the hip. Left leg can stretch back behind you. You can drop to the knees, rock the hips side to side, press them back into child's pose. Come onto the bum. Swing your legs out in front. And for this next position, if you'd like, you're familiar with legs up the wall and you actually have a wall nearby. It's literally exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to swing your legs up. I'll try and use it on this wall behind me if you can see it. You just roll yourself onto one side. And then swing your legs around so the heels can come up against the wall. And don't even worry about how close your bum is. You especially want to find a place where your hamstrings don't feel tight, your hip flexors don't feel tight. There's also a same expression of this using something to stack under your hips, your block or bolster. As long as you can find a position where your heels can hover over your body. And this same expression can even be done if you have a couch or a chair nearby, with your heels resting on the couch. Just want the sensation that the lower half of the body is elevated and that you can find no effort in your legs. Arms can rest on the abdomen or stretch out by your sides. Deep breath in. Open mouth, sigh, breath out. And be in your position without any effort. If you've been following along on our social media, today's online challenge is actually to do legs up the wall, so you are already ahead of the game. And then trusting that right now, the more that you can slow down, the more it might allow you to, at some point later on, speed up when you need to. Take 10 breaths and then take 10 more. Deepen your next 2 cycles. And really expand into the chest, into the belly. Start to wiggle toes. Bend your knees in towards your chest. If you're close up to the wall, carefully roll yourself onto one side. If you're propped up on anything, plant your feet down. Lift your hips to move that prop up from underneath you. We meet on the back with knees bent. Sway your knees side to side. In fact, at this point in your practice, if you'd like to take any other movement, one final sip of water. Grabbing for a sweater or socks. Land on the back in Shavasana, arms and legs stretched out. And as you extend your legs, maybe find a wiggle of your toes, a roll of your ankles, getting some blood flow back down into the feet. Your body arrived into a restful place. In fact, in Shavasana, you're not an active part of the position at all. It requires 0 participation from you. Just deep rest. Deep trust that right now in your own body, your heart, your mind, deep trust that growth is happening. And my voice will slowly bring you back. Start to deepen your breath. You start to pay attention to the sounds that surround you. Bring in small movements. Start to wake up the body. And rock your head side to side, flutter your eyes. When you're ready, draw your knees into your chest. Roll onto your right or left side, use your arm as a pillow. Slowly press yourself up into seated. If you have anything to place under your hips to rock yourself forward, helps to tip the pelvic bowl, stack the spine up a little taller. And place it under your hips now. We'll be upright for 3 or 4 deep breaths. Feel it move all the way up and down your spine. Watch the high point of your inhale and the lowest point of your exhale. How those two halves make a cycle. One cannot happen without the other. And trust that this is the process, the time that we might be in, a time of slowing down. Find a space within you where there's deep trust. To know that within yourself, within our communities, that there can be right now universal growth happening for all of us in some way. That perhaps this is asking something of us. It's not something happening to us, asking something of us. Take your hands to heart center. Bow your chin in towards your chest, acknowledging the divine wisdom of this practice. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. Namaste. Thank you so much for a wonderful Yin Yang practice. Please ask me questions if you have them. You can leave them in the comments or the chat. And my name is Helena.